Friday,
Sorry. go ahead.
sit down with our folks at the Environmental Services Department. Before we continue, I want to note that it's a public meeting. There's a public meeting act stationed on the far wall. If anybody wants to consult that. On Friday, we went over the project in some detail. And then I was accompanied to Valley, where we actually went over the project on the ground. And so I am fairly familiar with the lay of the land here. I think some of my colleagues might also be. This is a Western Douglas County proposal in near Valley, Nebraska. That said, we'll start with the leadoff, Laura, from the Department of Environmental Services.
Laura Dietrich, Planning and Zoning Coordinator. I'm going to offer some information on each of the applications that are in front of us and just briefly explain them. The first project is Valley Core. They have proposed to move their current business location to a location inside of Douglas County's jurisdiction that is outside of Valley's ETJ. In order for them to operate a construction yard on that parcel, they would need to have an amendment to the future land use map to redesignate that property from ag to industrial. The second application would be a rezone from ag to industrial as it exists today. And then the third, if those are both recommended approval, which they were by our planning commission, if the board so chooses to approve those, they could have a special use in place to run the construction yard. That's a brief overview of that first application. The second application that is in front of you, or I guess the fourth, different project site located across from the initial Valley Core site is a development called Glass Lake. And the city of Valley has requested Douglas County to cede jurisdiction of a portion of the parcel that is in Douglas County's jurisdiction, that we would cede it over to the city of Valley so that they could move ahead with a proposed subdivision of Glass Lake. Those are the two projects that are in front of you. Planning Commission heard these. Initially, the Valley Core application was heard on March 26th and was laid over. The Planning Commission requested that staff work with Valley Core's team to come up with terms of conditions on the special use permit. We worked together for several months and presented those again at the July 16th meeting. In April, the application to cede jurisdiction from the city of Valley was on the Planning Commission's agenda. They also chose to lay that one over so that we could agree on terms of the interlocal agreement for Glass Lake, for the ceding of jurisdiction of Glass Lake. So that was laid over until May, and at the May meeting, it was recommended to approve it. To go in front of the county board. They're just minor drafting edits that needed to be changed before we brought it to the county board. So that's where we're at today. Did that sum up everything?
That's good, thank you.
Okay, and then
David, could you give us kind of a procedural update on the zoning board's actions?
Yeah, I don't know that I have a lot to add to what Laura said. We did consider this at a notice public hearing in March. There were a number of layovers where the applicant was working with staff on various conditions of approval, trying to address concerns that testifiers at the public hearing and planning commissioners had raised. When this came back in July, because it had already had its required notice public hearing, I chose as chair not to have another notice public hearing, but I did give opportunity for people there who wanted to speak to speak. So we allowed anybody there who was there in support or opposition to address the planning commission for a few minutes, and a few folks took that opportunity, but only 2 or 3. I think one thing that may come up today, it may not, but I'll venture that it might, and so I'll talk about it. Is at the March meeting, there was a motion and a second to recommend approval of the comprehensive plan amendment. And remember, I know everybody knows this, but I think it's really important to say, Planning Commission is just a recommending body on all of these actions. None of our actions for or against are final. The Planning Commission could vote against the project. That would be a recommendation of denial, but it would still come to the county board. There was a motion to recommend approval of the comprehensive plan amendment. There was a second. That motion did not get a majority. The only other motion was a motion to lay it over to allow the applicant and staff to go try to work together to come up with conditions of approval to address again the concerns that the Planning Commission and neighbors of the project had raised. And that motion did pass. I don't remember exactly the vote, but that did pass. And then it went on for a few months. They were working together, came back to us in July. And went as described, we allowed people to testify if they wanted to. A couple of people did. And then we voted and here we are. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Committee Chair Kavanaugh, is that what you were looking for? You have our
Yes, and
items?
just to clarify.
Yep.
So the motion that was approved in July was the motion to amend the comprehensive plan. Is that correct?
There were actually three motions. We took each item separately. There was a motion and a second and a vote that the majority supported to recommend approval of the comprehensive plan amendment. There was a motion and a second and a majority vote in favor of the motion to recommend approval of the rezoning. And then there was a motion and a second and a majority vote in favor of recommending approval of the special use permit. In between that, as Laura mentioned, the Planning Commission did recommend approval of the ceding of jurisdiction of Glass Lake as well.
So those are the recommendations as of this date to the county board.
Correct. There are 4 recommendations from the Planning Commission in total. I have some question about the relevance of the Glass Lake ceding of jurisdiction. That may have happened anyway, but my opinion as one of 7 commissioners or 9, there were 4 motions. Recommend approval of the comprehensive plan amendment, recommend approval of the rezoning, recommend approval of the special use permit, and recommend approval of the ceding of jurisdiction of a portion of the Glass Lake property that was or is in Douglas County zoning jurisdiction. Part of it is already in Valley's zoning jurisdiction.
As an introduction, I hope that's relatively clear to everybody. I would at this point ask my colleagues if they'd like to submit any questions, starting with the Dean of the County Board, PJ Morgan.
Mary Ann Sedin, but
Oh, I was going oldest to youngest. She's certainly not
that
that.
was nice. No, I'd rather hear the citizens that are here. There's a good
We will.
number of
I
people.
was just wondering if you were clear on where we are.
Yes.
Okay, Michael?
I don't know how clear I am about where we are. I do attend, David and the board does a great job. I do attend those hearings on a pretty consistent basis. Not saying that Brown knows him, I'm saying that it's very well run. What I would say is that I'm interested in hearing about the, David alluded to a little bit of it already, the process that got us here. So in other words, I wasn't at that meeting, the one meeting I think in the last 8 months that I haven't been to. Whether that process was, from a parliamentary standpoint, was approved or understood by everyone to be legitimate. And I've heard both angles, like, oh, this wasn't done right. And then I've also heard it has been done right. Second thing is a practical legal standpoint from the board's perspective. And I think I got a chance to talk to Mary Ann, Commissioner Borgeson, about this a little bit. How easy should it be, and this is for all of us, to talk about a future land use map, and how easy should it be to amend it? what are the ramifications when you do something like that? What will Valcor bring to the table and what does it do to that community? So like PJ, I want a lot of the input from folks who are gonna be living right around it. I live out there, but not right out there. So, I just want some input.
Okay, appreciate that. Mary Ann?
Same.
Okay. On the screen, we have Chairman Garcia. Roger?
Hey, everyone.
It's just, you know,
Yeah.
Same.
fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice.
Roger, can you hear us?
Yeah. That was my only question at the moment, so I'll wait to hear from those reps.
Okay, we're gonna go into the land use question and then we'll deal with the procedural matters. But Laura, maybe you could help us with this. Everybody should have in their packet a series of maps. And do you want to kind of walk us through those a little bit about where we are now in terms of Valley Corp and where they want to go, just real briefly?
So currently Valley Core is located inside of Valley city limits. And where they want to relocate to is outside of the city of Valley's ETJ. Can you pull that up? Can you just pull up Dojas? Thank you. Sorry. Whatever.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm just gonna talk along here while we locate that. When we were out there Friday, we went on to the Valley Corp site inside Valley, and it's kind of adjacent to, very close to where Belmont facility is. It is a concrete recycling and mulch, and what else is available there?
On their current site, they have their corporate headquarters as well,
Corporate
and
headquarters.
they do have their concrete recycling.
It's right there, yep, the map down, arrow down, there, almost, there you
Right
go,
here.
nope, back,
This is their site.
right there,
here.
okay, good. Oh. Okay. Concrete recycling, corporate headquarters. And there's some like mulch sales or something like that
That is proposed on their.
on the new one,
website.
okay. So you'll see it there, it's been there for 40 years. More,
89,
okay,
1989.
35 years.
YMCA.
35 years. And the proposal is to move it northwest about a few miles
Few miles.
to a site bordered by Reichsmuth 275 and the Bennington Road and the proposed Glass Lake, I guess you'd call that a sand pit. This would involve taking that site, the new site, and transferring it from a current ag use zoning to an industrial zoning. This is part of what Mr. Levy outlined in his procedural overview. And then taking that industrial zoning and allowing for a special use of that industrial zoning to do the things that they are currently doing at the Valley site, plus a couple of other things, I guess, in terms of the mulch and other.
Yeah, so there will be a retail aspect to it as well, and they will also be moving at least one of their other businesses from the southwestern portion of Douglas County over to that site as well.
The other part of this would be on that site, and you will see on the map that says site, and has a red kind of triangle. The development of a lakeside community on the sand pit just to the southeast of the proposed Valley Corp corporate office and business site. That, at the City of Valley's request, would trigger the ceding of the Glass Lake planning jurisdiction from Douglas County to the City of Valley. And that was also recommended